Hey, welcome back, Intermediate Algebra. This con is called Zero Property Product. It's actually one of my favorite ones. To me, it makes really good sense, but you do have to understand a few things about it. First of all, you've probably started noticing a lot more f of x type things coming up on Khan Academy. If you remember, it used to be like y equal type stuff. Well, what you have to understand is that f of x and y r, it's on there somewhere. Where'd it go? There it is. F of x and y is the exact same thing. There is no difference. So if you had a graph where you had normally the y-axis, well, now it might be labeled the f of x axis, but they are the exact same thing. They are vertical axes going up and down. Now, second thing is when they talk about zero property product, what they're trying to find for zero property product is where does your figure cross the x-axis. Okay, so, and when we're talking about the x-axis, let me put a little visual up here for you. Let me grab my content. Let me grab a little graph. Let me shrink that graph up because that's absolutely massive. Let's shrink that baby up a little bit. All right, still too big. Boom, nice graph there. Okay, if I have a graph here, and I put a shape on here of some kind. In fact, I'll even do some kind of shape here. We'll just kind of do a nice little shape like this. Looks like a parabola. Okay. What they're talking about is where does this parabola cross the x-axis? So zero property product is trying to help you find where does it cross here and where does it cross right there. Okay. And you might notice at both of those points, both this x-intercept point and this x-intercept point, you'll notice what does the y value equal right there? And you might say, oh, well, the y value there is 0. And you're right. So whenever you're trying to find the x-intercept on something, you can automatically plug in 0 for y, meaning this f of x number right here needs to equal 0. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to plug in 0 for that f of x right up there. Now, I have a term here times a term here. And I know that it's got to equal 0. Well, you might say to yourself, well, I know that anything times 0, if this equals 0, 0 times anything will be 0. So if I can get this one to equal 0, then I know that this parabola would equal 0, or would be an x-intercept. Or what if I could get this one to equal 0? If this factor right here equals 0, then it doesn't matter what this one equals because 0 times anything would be 0. And so in order to do this, we're going to take this answer and we're going to set it equal to 0. And we're going to take this factor and we're going to set that one equal to 0. And then we just simply solve. Once we've set it equal to 0 like this, we solve. How do I get rid of the negative 5? I add 5 to both sides, and it's pretty simple. You might notice, hey, it was just the opposite of this one. Yep, and for the most part it is. And then this one, same thing. I set it equal to 0 right here. This one was a little more involved. I first had to get rid of the positive 2 by subtracting 2 from both sides. And then I had to divide by the number in front of the x, so I divide by 5. Okay, so really you might notice for the zero property product, it's always the opposite of this number divided by that one. Well, does that work for this one too? The opposite of 5 divided by the number in front of the x, well, the number here is 1, so 5 divided by 1 is 5. It actually works no matter what. So your zero property product is the opposite of this divided by this. So we've got two factors here. My one intercept is at negative 2/5. My other one is at 5. They want the smaller value here, which would be obviously the negative 2/5. The greater value here, which would be 5. Let's do it one more time, but I want to show you now how quick it can go, okay? So here's this one. We're going to take this. You'll notice they already have it set up to equal 0, which is perfect. So I'm going to take my two factors. They're here, right here. I'm going to take this one, and I'm going to do what's the opposite of this. It's positive 6 divided by 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. Perfect. What's the opposite of 3? The opposite of 3 is negative 3. And then divided by the negative 1, negative 3 divided by negative 1 is positive 3. Those are my two x-intercepts. I take the lesser one, which is 2, the greater one, which is 3, and it's right there. Hopefully that makes it a little easier for you. Good luck, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.